To travel from London to Paris, we booked the Eurostar train, and the train was delayed by a couple of hours and it was chaos, but we still made it. And this was such a surreal experience. I always wanted to travel by the Eurostar train ever since I saw it on DDLJ. We arrived Paris really late at night because of the delays, so this turned out to be our first day. So early morning, we had booked the tickets for the Louvre. We had done this ahead of time since we knew that the Louvre is huge and we would have been literally lost trying to cover it on our own. So we booked our tour through the tour guy. They are available on Instagram and he was really good. He took us through the tour, told us a little bit about the paintings, about the history, about the artwork that was there, showed us the important displays and galleries. And I think that really helped us because the kids were really tired. Also, a heads up, if you are going with kids over there, the art is really graphic. There is violence and nudity. This was my kids really tired, and this was us because we just wanted to make the most of it. After we were done with the Louvre, we quickly headed to Saint-Chapelle the same day. We had booked tickets for this in advance as well. Everything can be done online. All you need to do is just visit their websites. But this place is a short to visit place. The stained glass windows are none like I have ever seen before. I also loved exploring all the corridors and going through there. The kids had some activity they had given them to do that they were interested in. We bought them a French book that they were interested in. But yeah, this is it in all its glory. I think the best time to visit it is at sunset. We unfortunately weren't there then, but it was still good enough. We also visited the neighboring place that was next to it. But yeah, this was us checking it out. They give the kids these little histo pads that would show them what the place looked like in the olden days. And I think that's the part that made them really interested. This is Alia scanning the little QR code thingy, and it takes her to the year, I don't know, 1300s or whenever. And it shows her what it looked like. This was such a cool thing, and I'm so glad that they did that. This used to be the prisoners' corridor, as you can see. So yeah, this kept them excited because otherwise visiting a boring old museum or an old place wouldn't be fun. Then the same night we went and we visited Musée d'Orsay. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Again, a good place, but really graphic displays. We saw Van Gogh, and then there was all this nudity and violence, which you should keep the kids away from. Anyway, this is day 2. We set out again. Our days were really jam-packed and we tried to explore as much as we could and see as much and take as much in as we could. We walked around and I just took in the architecture and the beautiful streets. This day we decided to visit Versailles, so we took the train and headed there. This was And then for the actual Versailles Palace, you notice I added in my TikTok video because honestly I had no content of this place. It was insanely crowded at the point where people were pushing us. We weren't walking, we were just being pushed through. It was beautiful, but again, I would never go through that torture again. So on our way, we headed off to the Eiffel Tower. We didn't plan to, but we just did it today and the girls were so happy. You can see it from their faces. Day 3 started with another breakfast and another boulangerie. I think this was the best part of the trip. We would just stop at a little cafe and pick up something yummy for breakfast. Some local delight that we had never eaten before. Shanze stuffed her face with baguettes and I got eclairs. And then we headed to the station. So in France, you need their travel card called Navigo. I think we bought it from the station and then you just fill it up and you can travel and take the public transport. This day we went to the Sanway markets. This was like literally Sadr in Karachi. It was a secondhand market. It wasn't just secondhand, actually. There was also some new stuff, but then this is literally what it looks like. It wasn't a high-end place. It was like a bazaar. And I really enjoyed it. I don't think a lot of people would, but for me, this was like a literal treasure trove. These are the biggest antique markets, I think, in the world. And just look at the things that they had on there. I just could not control myself and ended up buying a couple of things as well. But yeah, everything was next level. We didn't have the luggage space or the money to buy some of these things. Chance found a little tiger under the table. So yeah, absolutely amazing artwork. It was such a huge market. I don't think we could explore all of it, but we tried our best and walked through and just took in the sights and the sounds and the whole vibe of the place, because that's what it was worth. And then we stopped at this little stall where they were making jewelry, and I got myself a necklace made. Funnily enough, the person who was making the necklace was originally from Bangladesh, and the materials he used were from Pakistan. So that was a really cool thing to see as well. And then we just walked along some more. By this time, the kids were really tired, but we would bribe them with something or the other. They'd have this little cart going around, if you noticed that. There were women with a stroller with drinks in there, and it was really cheap. It'd be like for €1, and we'd get some drinks for the girls, and that would bribe them to keep walking because we were clearly not over the place. I wanted to check everything out. This part was more like a very Sunday bazaar kind of thing where things were, as you can see, not how you would expect to be in Paris, the city of love. It was a bit of a mess and makes you appreciate home. And anyway, we stopped at a fruit shop and Alia found a kitty cat. I love that the kids find little animals and then they have to stay and play with them. Then in the evening, me and Hamad went out for a little bit of fun. We didn't have any plans because we hadn't booked anything in advance, but we thought we'd see the city and walk around and see what we could find. So this is us just exploring Paris with each other, because who knows when we're gonna come back. We came to this place which I can't pronounce for the life of me for dinner, but this was the queue. And because we did not make any reservations, we just skipped it. And then we thought we'll just walk around and find something else to eat. This is us walking around, looking at places, trying to Google Translate the menu. Afterwards, we found out that we didn't need to do that, and there is a Google Translate option. You just point your phone at the menu and it'll translate it. So then we found this place called Candelaria, which was, as you can see, a really teeny tiny disgusting little bar. But then once you walk in, you notice that this is where the party begins. So it has this hidden bar inside. So outside it looks like a dirty little kitchen, but indoors it's a really beautiful place. I loved the ambience of this place. There was literally no light. The only light there was from these candle lights. And then that was it. We headed back home. And this is day 4. We were on our way to explore something else, but we found out that there were these markets near our hotels. By the way, we stayed in Place d'Italy, I think that's how it's pronounced, and we stayed at Ibis Budget. So we were exploring these markets, and I love looking at local markets. I think I am a big fan of marketplaces. I anyway visit all the fairs that are local to me, but then this one was a sight and revelation in itself because everything was amazing. On this day, we decided to walk around again where we were staying, Place d'Italy, and all of these streets they were famous for their street. This is the address. I've mentioned it on the screen. Day 5 was our last day in Paris, so we came out to check out the gardens. These were called Jardin des Plantes, apparently. It's written on the screen. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but yeah, cute gardens. And here you'll see Shanze ordering her ice cream.
Chocolate blanc. Yes.
Once we were done with that, we headed over to climb the Eiffel Tower. Yep, this is something that you definitely need to book in advance because it's booked out for months. We had booked this earlier in our trip, and this was the waiting line, so we had to get in to climb the tower. And we all had to stuff in this little lift. Hooray for COVID! If I remember right, there were 2 levels. So you first go up 1 level and then you can explore that. This is us, but I think this is me on the 2nd level. I think the first one is that down below, the one that you saw, and then you take the lift again. and you head further up. If you are scared of heights, I'm pretty sure this would be really hard on you, but the view is phenomenal. Although it really feels weird to see Paris without the Eiffel Tower in it. And that's us after our tour to the Eiffel Tower. They have a lot of stalls and stuff nearby, so the girls were really cold and we stopped for some Nutella crepes. Alia really misses those, and then me and Hamad got coffee and ice cream, and then we took a tour on the River Shon. This wasn't pre-booked, we just went there and booked a tour on one of the boats that were there. And I think this is such a good idea for someone who doesn't have a lot of time in Paris. You can book yourself a cruise, and what they do is take you on the River Shon, and all the attractions are on either side that they point out to you. We saw the Musée d'Orsay and a lot of other attractions while passing through, and the tour guide was really nice. She'd say everything in French and then she'd repeat it in English, so that turned out to be good for us as well. We also got some really nice sunset shots. And then this is us standing near the Eiffel Tower at around 9:45 p.m. Yes, this was 9:45 p.m. And we were waiting for the Eiffel Tower to light up because it lights up at 10 p.m. and was so magical. It was cold, but I'm so glad we waited to see that it lit up for a couple of minutes, and then that was it. Then that was the end of our trip to Paris. We headed to Disneyland, and I'll show you that later, I guess.